Hello again. Local sports coverage and discussion continues at atv.ca and A Sports Extra. I'm Norman James, and in studio with me, Mark Hominick. How are you, sir?
Excellent. How you doing, sir?
First question for you. It's the most important thing. How's the family?
Amazing. Definitely life-changing experience having baby Rhea. But it's timing's everything in life. Things happen for a reason. To have the baby 2 weeks after the big title fight, it's been great. So I've had some time in the summer to really enjoy family life.
Family's number one, but in terms of your career, health, around number 2, 1A. How is your health?
Definitely, I'm back to 100% now. I had a few injuries after the fight, but it's been nice to have a little recovery time in the summer with the baby and everything. Like I said, timing's everything. Back to 100% training, and I'm eager to get back as soon as I can.
You're a fighter, a boxer, a puncher, so broken fingers can happen. From what I understand, you've had a broken hand twice in the past year. Is that true?
I had a thumb injury and I broke my hand after the last fight, but again, it's back to 100% health thanks to the group at London Health Sciences there at St. Joe's, and yeah, back to health here now. Got
to get you going, and again, this is a battle sport, and sometimes you come out of there with some bruises and bumps, but you heal and you get back into the cage, and I know that's where you want to be. Did you watch UFC 133 at all?
Yeah, definitely. There's some great fights. The main event really showed that Rashad's, up there, for the 205. I think he's really going to threaten John Jones. I think he's the real threat in that division, aside from, the champ John Jones right now. The one fight I really was watching is 145 with Chad Mendes, because I know he's next in line to fight the winner of Aldo and Florian. He's maybe not the most exciting fighter, but he gets the job done, and he gets a job done every time. So he's a real threat.
The featherweight division. Is this a division that people need to keep their eye on for the mere fact that you're involved in it? Is this a division where you'd say that maybe you can count on one hand the real legitimate contenders who can go after all those belts?
You know what? I think that everybody in that top 10 is a real threat, and that's the thing with the lighter weight classes. The guys are so well versed in every aspect. Like you see a lot of heavyweights are really strong at one aspect of the game, say the boxing or the wrestling or just jiu-jitsu, where the 145 fighters are dangerous everywhere, and they're always in shape. They always put on an excellent fight, and a lot of time they steal fight of the night. So I think that's the big thing, is anybody in that top 10 can threaten at any time.
Kenny Florian, it seems like he just wants to win a championship. He could be worthy. He's one of the best in the game, just all around. Down to featherweight he goes. He wants to take apart Aldo, and he's going to get his chance. What do you make of Kenny Florian? Do you respect the guy's game, or do you think he's just in it for the show here?
Oh, no question. He's one of the most experienced and professional fighters. Like, he takes his game so serious. He travels all over the world to work with the best guys. He's up there in Montreal with TriStar, with Georges St. Pierre and the crew there. So he's always trying to evolve. But that's one thing that he's sought after, is that title, and he hasn't been able to capture it. He had 2 shots at 155 and he didn't get the belt. And I really think he's going to have his hands full with Aldo. Aldo's no joke, and I think that the weight cut might be an issue as well.
You would know that Aldo was no joke. You needed another 30 seconds, and then Kenny Florian might be coming after you. Chan Sung Zombie calling you out on Twitter, and you mentioned that, hey, you know what, I'd love to fight Korean Zombie and take apart his twister move. Is this just speculation? Is this Twitter fun, or do you think
the UFC, that's one thing that they really pride themselves is the social media, and they really strive on what the fans are saying on, and Twitter's a big thing. He wants to fight, I want to fight, the fans want to see the fight, so we're both eager to get it. As long as we're both healthy, I don't see why they wouldn't put that fight together for the UFC in Toronto.
UFC 140, Air Canada Centre in Toronto. I have to think that Toronto and Mark Hominick are going to be synonymous, perhaps legendary when it's all said and done. How does a Toronto fight happen without Mark Hominick after what you did at UFC 129 at Rogers Centre? So it's got to make sense that you're on that card in early December.
Oh, for sure. The UFC Canada, the staff there are definitely eager to go back, and Dana White as well. They want me on that card. I want to be on that card, so that's what we're pushing towards. I'm training for December 10th, UFC 140. But the one thing that, obviously the last fight really put my name on the map and solidified myself as a contender in the division, but I don't want to live on the morals of my last fight. I want to be remembered what I do from now on. Now, like I said, that last fight really put me in contention of, people got to see what I'm capable of doing, but now I got to move forward and, prove what I'm going to do in the future.
How do you build on that fight, knowing that, hey, you were this close, but you don't want to be one of those guys who will be looked back upon as, hey, the one fight wonder? You have a fantastic career, 20-9, but how do you take what you experienced with all it's just that epic, legendary, electric stuff, and take it to a title shot. And what's the strategy to getting there, Mark? Because you got to think you got to build on this.
You know, it was definitely overwhelming being in that situation. You know, all the pressure of the extra media, being in front of the UFC's record crowd, 55,000 people at the Rogers Center was something special. But you know, the one thing, there's two things you can do from a loss. You can either sit there, dwell on it, and kind of, you know, sulk, or you can be motivated to get back in the gym and work on what you need to work on. And that's what I've done. You know, I'm hungry to get back there, and I know what it feels like to get to the top. And now I want to be standing at the top, not looking up.
Got to think the pressure's on, though. This is almost, in a lot of ways, it was a kind of a spiritual win for you, because you took maybe the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. You took him all the way to the brink and almost beat him. So you have to think, in a lot of ways, people are expecting that kind of performance from you your next time out. So the pressure has to be doubly as big going into this next fight.
Well, no question. But if you look at my whole career, I think when the pressure's on, that's when I perform best. So, you know, I said I was a 5-1 underdog in that last fight, and basically I ran out of time. You know, if I had 30 more seconds, I think I'd be wearing the world title right now. So, you know, I feel I perform best under the pressure, and you know, I welcome it, really. You know, UFC 140 is another big opportunity, and like I said, I have to capitalize on the opportunity that's been given to me, and you know, keep climbing to make it to that title.
Do you have a strategy for the belt? Are you thinking 1-2 fights and then maybe take on whoever is holding the strap when that time comes?
I think the biggest thing right now is that I don't want a tune-up fight. I don't want to go in there and fight a guy who's maybe coming up. You know, I want to fight the real contenders in the division, because I want to jump right back in that pot. You know, fight the best guys in the division, because I think that's the fastest way to a title. You know, if I get a string of wins against guys that maybe aren't respected in the top 10, you know, it keeps you there. I want to get back, fight the guys number 4 or 5, you know, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way up there, and wear that belt at the end.
How do you get better now? We know you put guys on the canvas with the best of them. There are only a few in the sport who can just knock guys to the canvas. You've done that to everybody. But what do you need to do? Do you need to stay off the ground and not get submitted? Do you need to up your submission game? Do you need to start using more kicks in the performance? I mean, you've had to have learned from the Aldo fight, and you've got to be putting together some kind of a game plan going forward.
I think the biggest thing in the Aldo fight I was learning is my wrestling still my weakest part, and that's something I've constantly evolved. But if you look at any top fighters like Georges St. Pierre, you know, they constantly evolve every fight. You know, if you stand at what you have, you're never going to get any better. You have to constantly evolve in this sport, constantly grow as not just, you know, the stand-up game, the wrestling game, but the jiu-jitsu game. Everything's got to be in cohesion and just keep getting better every time. So that's my main focus right now, is rounding up my game. But the wrestling part is a definite focus for this next camp.
Before we go, the rankings, I know they're subjective and they're all over the place. It's the fanboy sites who have you know, their favorite fighter on top and fighters they don't necessarily like near the bottom. But just looking at about 10 different ranking systems today online, you're as far down as 20, as high up as 3. So is that indicative of just how wacky this whole process is, or do you put credence into these numbers?
It's all biases. You know, a lot of the websites, you know, like mixed martial arts is really internet-based, internet-driven. So a lot of websites are guys you don't even know who they are, and these are the guys making the rankings. So I think that's a big thing, but I don't really stress too much on that. You know, like I know I was up there against the number 1 guy in the division. I earned my spot against him, and I took him to the limit. So I know where I'm at, and now I know where I want to be. So you could rank me number 100 in the world or number 1 in the world. It doesn't matter. I'm going to capture to be the top guy in the world.
So the sense is that you're going to be a part of UFC 140. Nothing signed, but that is the gut feeling among many. Who do you want to fight? You
know, I think the Korean Zombie is the fight that makes sense. He came off a big win against Leonard Garcia, who I'd beat in the past. So he's coming off a big win. He's got a big name, and the fans want to see it. And you know, I think it makes sense not only for you know, the eagerness of the fans want to see the fight, but also for the rankings. Like I said, I want to jump back in, fight the top guys.
He's got that twister though. Do you have a defense for that?
Well, I think a left hook to the body might take that out. So we'll see. Whatever comes my way, I'm taking him out.
Good to see you again. You're looking great. We cannot wait to see you back in the octagon and you know, on your route to the title, I guess.
I appreciate that. Thanks
Mark
for the
Hominick,
support.
ladies and gentlemen, you are watching The Breakdown on atelevision.ca and A Sports Extra. Until next time, we'll see you.